Hi everybody, Mikkel Binskas here, coming to you from San Mateo. I'm in one of the WeWork phone booths here, and I'm speaking to Malu from Portland. Nice to meet you. Thank you for offering your time to chat to me today.
Yeah, thanks, Mick. It was nice to know what you're doing with your book and spreading message for younger women to pursue a career. I can start with my introduction.
Yeah.
I'm from India, and that's where I had my education in computers, both bachelor's and master's. My parents were both engineers, and it was just me and my sister growing up in a really remote village where there was just one school and no universities or colleges. And the time I grew up, the place I grew up had very less women even working, not just in technology. Even women were working. It was just a very remote township in southern part of India, and my parents encouraged both me and my sister to be bold like other boys in my class that would be really strongly opinionated, start an argument, even start challenging
Right.
if their answers at school were right or wrong, take their stand. Basically, that's kind of what our parents encouraged us. And I was very interested in computers. I was fascinated even by the oldest of those microprocessors, very bulky computers. And I was also kind of astonished that they could solve my multiplication or even my calculus problems with just click of a mouse button. So that's kind of what piqued my interest, and I pursued my education. And it was during recession, the 2003 recession, that I graduated, and I started to work in my uncle's company as a trainee, as an intern, because the economic conditions in India were also affected by the world events. And that's kind of where I got exposed to how, I noticed right away that there were fewer women, and first of all, they don't listen, or women are not given a voice in the meeting, literally. And I also had male counterparts that would come off with a new idea, and they were bold enough to even pursue it and present it, and people would listen. And I was also the first challenge I faced was that people are not acknowledging me as even their coworker or someone that is
Really?
educated. Yeah, as a peer, basically. Not even. I was a beginner. I was an entry-level engineer, and I was not even acknowledged for that.
So I'm assuming that at that time there was also male engineers who were entry level, and you're saying that they were treated quite differently to you.
Yes, we were about a dozen students joined as interns. So I knew there were, and there were also other women with me, other girls that graduated with me in my group. It was almost 50-50 in terms of getting the education.
Okay.
A lot of women going to college and universities, but at the workplace, my batch of students were 50-50 in male and female distribution. And for some of them, it was more like it was for them to kill the time and not a serious profession.
Okay.
So it didn't affect the rest of them, or not all the women thought like me and noticed a difference, or they were not sensitive to the gender bias at workplace. Mm-hmm. So how I faced the challenge was first to get really smart and be a specialist at what I was doing. And that needed a lot of time devoted to learning the skill. I was a developer, so I invested time reading books. Then it was very few online resources. It's not like now.
Yep.
I guess it was the early days of Google.
Yeah.
So I had time to perfect my craft. And what I thought was, okay, if I'm going to be better at work and be a better architect, maybe they'll respect me because, knowledge is what matters. That's what I thought. And I was proven wrong again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it didn't matter how much I knew, or because I was at the same company the second year, and I launched my own product. Or I had my own idea to launch a particular product for which we were doing manual work. It was an automation solution.
Yep.
And I came forward with that. And first everyone said, no, we'll never make money. And we are never going to invest invest in this particular software or building it. And they just kind of shelved my idea. But I had my manager, and I had my manager who kept on asking, why would you want to build this? He showed more interest than my peers. So I was in a group, and we were together as software developers that had to build this particular solution. And they were not, my teammates were not interested. They were all men. And then they thought, then I kind of persistently went to my manager and said,
well done.
Yeah, well, we were going to present it as a team, and I did not get the vote from the rest of my colleagues. So I went to my manager and I explained it to him, and he actually gave me permission to proceed with my own idea. And he also said, you know what, this is supposed to be a work for a group of people. Do you think you can pull it off? And at that time, all I thought was, yeah, it's my idea. I think I can work on it alone. But it was something more challenging because my manager also did not, at that time, even the men in leadership position, they didn't want to openly show the support that they are motivating other women. They were in this club, they were in this men's little club, and they want to belong there. And it's all like a secret engagement with, even if they say good things about the female counterpart or their team members, it had all it had to be done in secrecy. Like it's a very they didn't want to come off as supporting women. So that's what was happening. And so anyway, that's the other thing I learned, that not everyone wanted to openly be there for women and treat them as counterparts. And at that point, I started to understand more about just the working class women itself, where there are challenges, and some of them they take a passive stand. They just think, okay, that's how it's going to be, and go ahead with it. But I couldn't. I'm more sensitive, and I have a chip on my shoulder. The thing with their mindset is something I cannot change. What I did was I still took it as a challenge, and I completed it. It was not like very great innovative technology or anything, but it gave me more confidence that I can do it. And once I did it, it was more like, oh, I got all the power and people were talking about me. How did you finish it? It was supposed to be like a 10-people project. And how did you work on it in addition to your regular responsibilities? So people knew that I was very energetic, and I also had the knowledge to complete it.
Great.
And then moving on to other challenges was that then I came to this country. And my expectation from a advanced country like a superpower like America was that women are going to be, of course, a lot more women in the workforce in leadership position, and that they would be a lot more accommodating. That I was done with the gender bias in India. That's kind of what I was expecting. It is actually very good because they are very respectable to women, and culturally they're very advanced, but it's not much at the workspace is what I thought. What I observed. So the first thing I came up was I was an introverted person, and I knew that I had to not become completely extroverted, but I had to speak enough to engage them and work on my communication style. It's a lot about communication here, but in my country, it's not like that. You're either very rich or powerful. That's it. That's all you got to be, and people would just talk to you. So coming to America, the communication skill, the soft skill, or the importance for being a better person in communication, I understood how important it was. And here, we're also predominant, even right now, in my team, I'm the only person that's a product manager. I work with the rest of them are men in my team, and there's the receptionist. I work at Nike. So even here, it's not like 50-50 or even 40-60 here. So what I did, the challenges was that, your second question, what were the challenges? First was to not adhere to a stereotype as to what women are. That was that's still a ongoing task where you're supposed to not have much ambitions, or you cannot change your career, or and men do it a lot. I mean, not men, just for them it's not like I'm a man and I can change. It's never like that. They do it as they can. And I saw things like that. So I broke this. I'm working on breaking the stereotype.
Right.
My careers and also applied to a job where so I started it as a developer, and I had to switch my career from being a developer to a engineering manager to a product manager.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I can see the resistance from many people where
Yep.
I would go to an interview, and they would give me examples. There were women in this role that failed to do this job, and how do you think you would fit the bill? It was more like based on a gender, or probably who I was.
So was that a specific question you got? Was there women failed in the role? So what does it matter? Like, so, I mean, people fail in roles, but like that's basically saying they failed because they were a woman, which is incredible. So I mean, I think a lot of these things are changing, but it is slow. And I think the reality is, for a while still, women in the workforce are going to meet these challenges occasionally. Hopefully they get less and less, and hopefully there are more role models like you. But I think that's the reality, is you get small-minded people who just don't get it and don't understand it, and that's unfortunate, but it's a reality, and we've got to just bust those stereotypes, as you said.
Mm-hmm. So that was the first challenge, and it's an ongoing challenge. The other thing was to be a lot more detail-oriented and not just share opinions for the sake of it. Only because I'm not a man, I have to be a lot more detailed. If I say no, I have to base it on the facts and the data I have. And actually, that's something I learned. I can't just have argument on a very superficial level and then have an opinion because I can. So that is something I learned. And actually, it was a good thing, because being detail-oriented is a good skill to have in any
Right.
job.
Sure.
So, presenting an idea, I would be my own devil's advocate and argue against it. I would make sure I have my facts right.
Okay.
And also sharing feedback. Hey, it's not working. I cannot just say it's not working and come up with a new plan. I also go a step beyond that and say, okay, this is not working. These are the options that we have. So what do you want to do it? So I have to be a lot more detail oriented in how I speak and how I challenge other people's ideas.
Yeah. Can I ask you, have you found any role models or mentors either within your company or within your group? Is that something you've been able to find?
I've been able to find both women and men that are. I have mentors here, and they seem to understand what's going on, and it's been really good.
Okay.
Having them and going back to them and sharing is that how it is, and having a support system is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming back to the challenges part, I do have one more thing about when you say having mentors and confidence, it's very important that you can ask people's opinion. But at the end of the day, it's me or the person that has a problem that would be able to make a decision. And I've seen this happen. When I'm posed with a challenge at work, I would see my colleagues that would offer, hey, maybe do this, don't worry. They are trying to make me feel better, but I'm not afraid or scared of the challenge. But they feel that I'm really weak, and it was probably a very difficult time for me to go through a challenge at work. So people just are, they're more pitiful, and I'm trying. And usually I say, no, I'm not feeling challenged or discouraged. So I'm just taking it like how it should be. So people are ready to be pitiful for you and write you off as someone weak. That's another challenge.
Well,
And then I do have. Do you have any questions so far, Mick?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I want really pleased you telling the story, sharing the story. A quick one that's popping into mind. You mentioned that your mum and dad were both engineers. Were they? What kind of engineers were they?
They were electrical engineers.
Electrical engineers. Okay, and it's because you mentioned at the time that not many women were working, but your mum was working and as an engineer. So did you feel that she was a bit of a role model for you as well in terms of supporting you and positive, like and your father as well? I know sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't, but obviously as engineers, they may be more likely to be.
Yeah. Well, my mother was a stay-at-home mom after she had me and my sister.
Okay.
But she always encouraged us. Even now, I just joined this team. I was unemployed for the past 4 months, and my parents would always motivate me if I didn't pass through an interview that I should just keep on going. Like, it was just like a bump in the road.
Yeah.
So they I don't know how they could be so confident in my success, but that's probably, they're a lot more confident about me than I am on myself. So that's helped a lot. I mean, it's scary sometimes, but it's also a really good thing to have with family. And also even me and my sister, we are now in each other's lives, motivating each other. So it's really fortunate to have such a nice family.
We got connected. I was very lucky enough to be invited to be a part of the Slack channel at PDX Women in Technology. Can you tell me a bit about that network and how you found it and what you get out of that network?
Sure. So the PDX Women in Technology was founded by Megan, and it was started at the time where there were even lesser women. It was almost 10 years ago in Portland. It's a group of, it's not just women, there are a lot of men that are members too. And we are our PDX Women in Technology group. They organize monthly happy hours and also interesting topics to discuss on. There's a presenter and keynote speaker. And I've been more active with the network since last fall. When I was laid off twice in a year. So the second time when I was laid off, I wanted to take a different approach to my job search strategy. And then I began to do a lot of networking in the professional area. So when I went to the PDX WIT events, I got to meet the hiring managers and also other successful women that are leaders. And they helped me. I would just go and ask, hey, what are you doing? Are you looking for a product manager? I would ask their name and learn about them and then find out if they are hiring. That's how my approach would be. Okay. And what I found out from the women is that at times I would talk to them and they would say, I'm not hiring, but I can share your name with my network, and I can also help you prepare with your resume. I can review your resume. I can help you prepare for interviews by doing a mock interview. So they helped me in so many ways. I had to redo my resume 5 or 6 times. I had 3 different versions, and I thought it was really good. But I got to meet professional resume writers. And they gave me their feedback for free. They would also, if I were to hire them, I would have to spend like easily $2,000 to $3,000. But when I met them, and I would know that they are professional resume writers, yeah. And I would say, you know what, I wish I could afford you. I just can't. And they're like, no, you don't have to pay me at all. You just share what you got. I'm happy to help. They were so. It looks like they were waiting to help someone, and they just didn't know whom they had to help. And I was there asking for help at the right time. So I got to meet people like that. And I also got to meet leaders in the same product management area. And that is, again, a even more niche area where there are very less women. There are more engineers now, good, and even lesser engineering leaders. So when I met these women, they shared on how to prepare and how to make a career transition. So I had made a career transition from an engineering manager to a product manager in a formal role last summer. And 3 months into that role, I got laid off. So I was more depressed that I was taking off a new career, and then I failed. So it was really difficult. And that's when I found my mentors. who've done similar thing like this in their career, and they shared how to face interview questions. When people look at your background, they are going to get confused at what is it that you actually want to do. So you might find it challenging.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I got from PDX Women in Technology. Really good mentors and very positive energy. You attend one of their happy hours, you meet so many people, and you know what they are doing, and everyone has a story to share. So that's what I gained from the group. It's the energy to keep on going and to have some hope that yes, there are some really good people that want to help you.
That's
not
great.
Yeah, and the other thing I got was out of my entire job search experience and networking is that people are willing to help, but you have to ask for help, because when you ask for help, you let go of your ego and your pride and all that, and you're putting yourself out there and saying, hey, I need help, I'm not good at this, can you help me? So I learned that that's the most important trait to have. So that's
great
about the network.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'd be interested to know whether you seem super busy, and I'm sure there's lots going on, but do you have any time now that you've built a career to actually do mentoring for young girls in tech? And if you do, what is there any good advice you'd like to give them about thinking about a career in technology?
Yeah, sure. I am mentoring the students in my daughter's school. I run the STEM fair and the STEM club. I do that, and I encourage them to participate and learn. And also in my career, I also have 4 people that I mentor.
Wow.
They're women in a similar situation, but a lot more challenging. So I do mentoring, and I'm so glad that I can actually talk to them and share. And my story is kind of a good example for them to have some hope on. So I'm passing down just the goodwill that was shown to me back to the community. And the advice I have is for every woman out there that's questioning their choice, just to ask one question: What would a man do? That's it.
Really?
And
okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And also, every job or every career, anything you do, always do social networking. Not social, the professional networking.
Okay.
That's the only way to
real
grow.
Networking, actually in real life. Yeah.
They have to be professionally very good at communication and networking, and it's going to get only with people that know you well or have something to vouch for you. You're going to get better opportunities. So I would say just 2 things, and be really good at your own craft. Pay attention to the details.
Mm-hmm.
You should always be at least 4 times as good as the other group of men to be even considered their peer. So all those things.
I hope that changes. I think merit should be based on your abilities, but I appreciate that you're taking an approach to completely smash it and be so much better that there's not even a question. But I do find it unfortunate that that's mm-hmm. still the case. But hopefully that gets better.
Yep.
Well, fantastic. And now I have to embarrassingly say that I've never been to Portland, but hopefully I can come to one of these happy hours and maybe I can participate or do a workshop for the PDX Women in Tech group. I'd love to participate. I've always wanted to go there. My good friend Erica Lee lives up that way. So maybe I can come up and say hello one day. But I'm sure you've got to get back to being a wonderful product manager there at Nike. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. All the team at shesbuildingarobot.com really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your story, and please keep persevering in the work you're doing, especially the mentoring. That sounds fantastic. And thank you so much for your time. Yeah,
thanks, Mick. And I appreciate what you're doing. There are very few people that do this. So we need more people like you. Thank you so much.